Josh and Heather Avis have come to visit us here at Shepherd's Grove. They both have a tremendous message to people who want to have children, and that message is adopt. Especially for us as Christians, adopting is one of the greatest things that we can do. These two have adopted 3 children, 2 of which have special disabilities, and they're going to tell us a little bit of their story. Josh and Heather, hi, how are you?
Great, thanks
for having us.
Yeah, so glad to have you with us. Tell us a little bit about your kids. You have 3 kids, 2 of which have special needs, and tell us a little bit of the story of how you came to adopting these particular kids.
Yeah, I'll start. So we have 3 kids. We have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And I first need to say we never intended to adopt, and we never intended children with special needs. That was never what we wanted. Yeah. We had some trouble getting pregnant, went through some infertility roller coasters, and got to a crossroads of in vitro or adoption, and really felt like in vitro wasn't a road we wanted to travel down, and chose adoption. And in that, looked for the safest way to adopt. We went to a private agency, paid the big bucks so we could get a healthy infant.
Yeah. And that we could choose, that there was an option that we could have, we could be given an option of a boy or a girl,
sure,
you know, race, all of that, and it was safe. It was something that we knew we could choose, and God had a totally different story.
Yeah, when you adopt, they'll give you a checklist, and you're checking off yes and no to anything you can imagine for the child and their birth family.
So I mean, I would say, obviously, you went through this like terrible struggle. I mean, we've heard that depression from infertility is one of the biggest, like, deepest depressions you can feel. It had to be terribly painful for both of you. You had these dreams to have a kid, and so you finally say, all right, we're gonna sort of let this go and step into a new reality of parenting. And I would think that the big advantage of adopting is it's kind of like, forgive me, but like I can get whatever I want. Right? Yeah. I mean, I can go, you can like, will I get a Toyota or a Honda? You know, like you can pick anything you want. Yeah. And in that decision process, you chose 2 children with major disabilities. How did you get there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I would say we didn't choose that. God chose it for us. And wonderful. I'm so grateful because on our checklist, we said no to Down syndrome. Our eldest daughter was very ill. She had a disease called pulmonary hypertension and was on oxygen for 2.5 years, 24/7. She had open heart surgery. She had a prior heart surgery. We said no, no, no to all of those. And God said, that's nice. This is what I'm going to give you. And really, this is a gift. This is the greatest thing that you could ever receive from me. Oh. And so we went into it with fists up. I mean, when we found out about Mason's diagnosis, we just said, I mean, it really was. There were moments with the Lord. I'd been through infertility, and I've come to grips with that. I've come to grips with adoption, and now you want me to adopt a child with Down syndrome who's very ill. Yeah. God, this is so unfair. So we definitely didn't jump in like saints.
Yeah, there was a grieving process for sure. She was made to be a mom, and so to go through, like and we were married for what, 3.5 years before we started trying, and it was what, how long was it? 5 years before we had kids?
Yeah.
And so to see Heather, who was made to have kids, made to be a mom, and then we didn't get that right away, and it was definitely, that was really hard. And then we come to grips with this little girl who we knew was ours, but was very sick. Her medical file was like this thick, and when we met her, she was 4 months old. Wow. And so I remember sitting in the Costco parking lot where all spiritual moments happen.
Of course.
And we sat there and we just cried. And this had just come after us visiting her in the hospital. We thought, we'll go sit with the doctors. Yeah. And the doctors will give us some direction and say, well, she's this, and this. And then we'll say, okay, we were still in a place where we could still say yes or no to this little baby who needs a home, needs parents. And so we left there, and it was like silence. It was like, nothing. We had nothing, and we sat there, and it was really hard. I think you should share what God impressed on you.
Sure. So after we had met Mason, I really felt like the Lord said to me, I've wrapped a gift for you, and I've handed it to you, and it's beautifully wrapped, and you're unwrapping it, and when you get to all the paper and bows off, You look at it and say, this isn't what I asked for, here you go. And just the idea of handing something back to God that God's given me, like who am I to say, sorry, God, I didn't ask for this, take it back.
Wow.
I mean, it's God, you know?
I mean, that's a powerful image. I mean, a big part of the story is the suffering component. I mean, a tremendous amount of suffering from infertility, then adopting a child and just, you know, like you said, coming to terms with that, and then this major illness. But the way that maybe God reconciled that for you, what I heard is that you recognized that this was a gift.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You just get to know God in a way that you wouldn't otherwise. And I think that's a gift. I mean, there is such a gift and a beauty in suffering because you get to know God in a way that you wouldn't otherwise.
Yeah, and it's not like you want the suffering, it's not like you asked for it, but you can see that we serve a God that redeems all of these stories and makes them right for Him. Yeah. What a great story for Macy to feel that she's loved, that she has some people in her life that didn't abandon her when everybody else said she wasn't. It's like the Beatitudes where you said, blessed is Macy, right? I mean, like you just said that she's blessed and she's loved and we want her.
Yes.
I mean, that leads to my next question. You don't have one kid though, you have three, and another has a disability. How did that happen?
Yeah, so you talked about a gift, and because of our experience with Macy and truly too, it's been amazing in that I remember sitting with the doctors and they said Macy might live till she's 3, depending on how this surgery goes. She's 6, and God really impressed on us. You can have 3 days or 33 years or more, and whatever we get is a gift, and it's been that. And so here we are with 2 more, and because of what we've experienced and really just saying it's not up to us, so let's hold our hands open to God and saying, okay, we know we think we have the capacity to bring another kid with special needs. And so here we go, and God did just that. And so in August, he just turned 1, and he's my boy. So he
has Down syndrome as well.
He does. Yeah. So we've had him since day 1, which has been absolutely amazing. And he had heart surgery when he was 4 months old, open heart surgery, and he was a champ. He went right through it. Yeah. God's done amazing things in healing his heart, and he's thriving. And it's we have 3 kids.
It's kind of like you turned your scars into stars in a way. It's like you took actually the learning curve. I imagine there'd be a huge learning curve just for the specific illness of Down syndrome. Yeah. And you're like, well, we've already learned this. Why not just use it for both of our kids?
No, it really felt like that with the next one, because our middle child doesn't have special needs.
Yeah.
And she's lovely and wonderful. And then knowing that we wanted to continue to grow our family, it was like, well, we know what we're doing here in a sense, and we know that there's a need here, and we know that this is an honor. This isn't something, a lot of people feel like, say to us, oh my word, you guys are so amazing, this is so great that you do this, and I just think, you gotta be kidding me. Like, we are average at best, and we're just parenting our kids, and that God gave us these kids. We feel really blessed.
It's just how we got to parenthood. Yeah. It's a unique way.
Yeah, but I would say that, you know, you say you're average at best, but I think what you're showing us is that as normal people, God felt like you were big enough, smart enough, that you had enough character and wisdom to handle this. Yeah. And what I think is great about that is not only to applaud you, but to say there are other people out there that need to be adopting as well. And that's really your heartbeat, isn't it? Your dream is that people watching this program, that people know your platform, will adopt, because there's just such a huge need, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a huge need, and there's a huge need for adopting people with Down syndrome internationally. There's just kids sitting, waiting for homes, and people with Down syndrome are incredible, and it is an honor and a privilege to be able to parent them.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Their names are Josh and Heather Avis, and they're doing amazing things in the world of adoption. You can follow them on Macy Makes My Day, see pictures of their kids, and send them messages and support them on their mission to have more people adopt more kids in need. That really is your heartbeat, isn't it?
That's right.
Yes.
And you have a book coming out, so we'll keep an eye out for that, Heather. And we just wanted to say thank you guys for being with us. Thanks. We're going to be praying for your ministry and watching you thrive as God calls you to encourage people to become new parents.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. It's a pleasure.